After having a successful career in the service industry, what made you switch to the IT industry? Very interesting question.
Oh, okay. Interesting question. Actually, I hadn't really thought about it as, to be very honest, Sachini, I didn't think of it as service industry. I always thought I was in IT tech because telecom, because EVS is again an IT company. That was my very first job. And actually, I did not share, but I had a 10-year part-time stint in media as well. So that was something that it was not really as a career, but just to my liking, I just wanted to be that. So I always like to think more than service industry. It was always IT and telecom. So whilst it is definitely service industry, I didn't feel that I'm changing industries because I always felt it's a job that was close to tech, that was close to IT and tech. So now Microsoft is a platform company. We build platforms for the world. So it's again software and IT. So whilst it's an interesting point of view, I always felt like I was always in IT and telecom.
Good morning, everybody, and it's fantastic to be once again meeting one of our MBA diary experts. As you know, we've had about 146 MBA diary experts and all the top CEOs, chairmen, Sri Lankans who are doing brilliant all over the world. So today we have an outstanding Sri Lankan in the international marketing arena with 18 years of experience in strategic marketing management, specializing in IT, digital sectors with exposure, say, in Asian and Middle Eastern markets. Currently, she is the senior marketing lead for Microsoft Azure's ASEAN region, which happens to be Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, and Vietnam. She has won the full year 23 Microsoft Platinum Club Award, a premium global recognition for employees who have exceptional results. She is the former Chief Marketing Officer lead of emerging Asian markets at Microsoft and former head of marketing at Etisalat, Sri Lanka. She's a marketer by profession, has a distinction of being the first elected woman president of Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing and the executive committee member of the FITI software chapter. There were some fantastic innovative projects that our today's guest did when she was president of Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing that was really cherished by the policymakers as well as the public of the whole marketing fraternity, actually. She was recognized as a career role model of the year 2021 by the World Bank, IFC, and the top 50 career women awards. As you know, it's one of the most sought after awards that every woman would strive to achieve in Sri Lanka, and she won that award in 2021. She has awarded multiple marketing awards in Asia, like the FE PR Awards Asia, Brand Excellence, the Mantan Awards for Excellence in Brand Marketing. Academical and MBA, a BSc in Special Honours degree, IT, and a postgraduate diploma in marketing from Chartered Institute of Marketing, UK. She's just completed executive education at Kellogg School of Management, which just tells you the outstanding kind of caliber that this person comes from. We also have with us Dimantini De Silva, a fantastic product of Sri Lanka, outstanding career in the academic career. And then she's just got picked up by, one of the top countries in the world, Australia, on a call from at QUT in Brisbane. So she'll be giving us an academic view of what our today's guest speaker is going to give. And ladies and gentlemen, the integrated marketing lead for Azure in the ASEAN region, the Asia Marketing Organization of Microsoft, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, and Vietnam, Thilanka Abeywardena. Thilanka, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rohantha, and good morning to everyone. And firstly, I want to take a moment before I start that thank you for inviting me. I've seen how you have always had an enriching lineup of speakers for the MBA Diary. So thank you for also thinking of me among that. So I think as I pull my deck together, so to all of you spending your Saturday morning with this session, so thank you, and I hope this next 20 to 25 minutes we will do something important and useful together. So I'll start sharing my screen. Please do let me know when it's up and you can see.
Very clear, Thilanka. Thank you.
Yeah, you can, right? Okay. So firstly, I think, Doctor, thank you for the introduction. I think among all of that, I always like to just, concise the whole thing into just 3 roles that I always take pride in. So the number one being I'm a mom. I have a 3.5-year-old toddler girl. So, and then to be known as a marketer for the last 18 years, tech or otherwise, I've always been a marketer. And as of now, as you know, I'm a Microsoftie, so I work for Microsoft. So this could change in times to come, but as of now, I want to be, I would concise the whole role into the 3 M's, the mom, market, and a Microsoftie. So with that, if I go to the topic today, so I had a chat with Dr. Rohanthi in just deciding what we should be talking. So I would be actually taking the next 20 minutes or so across 3 things, I would say. And the third one is obviously the Q&A. So the first 2 things that I will be covering today would be first my journey and my learnings, my own learnings and highs and lows, and probably hoping that it would be helpful because I know you all are part of the MBA community, so you all are experienced professionals. So I'll just try to share my my highs and lows and few key takeouts or learnings from my career. That I'll be spending about 5 to 7 minutes, and then I'll spend a little time about my own perspective of tomorrow and beyond. What I believe as professionals we will be facing, and also the kind of future that holds. So that's basically what it is. So the topic, as you know, is local talent, global thinking. So with that, I'll start with my journey. And before that, you can see this image that you see here. It's AI generated. So I used Microsoft Designer to generate this. It just took me like 30 seconds. I just said the kind of topic that I'm doing today. And I put the caption, and it gave me something that is going to suit my cover image for today. So with that, I think I haven't put the animation that covers. Okay. My journey, key moments and learnings. I'll do it with a bit of a pictorial journey. So first, so at school, I was always the person who spent more time outside of the classroom, singing, music, emceeing, in sports and everything. So I think probably whilst I'm like 4 decades into my life as of now, but I would always like to think of that, my time at my school as my foundation. I studied at Cinema Bandaranaike Vidyalaya, and always spending my time mostly in the class, outside of the classroom. So I don't want to call myself as the most exceptional academic record. I was good. I was not the best of the best at academia. I was more the student who did everything with a bit of a balance, did a little bit of everything. That's the way to put it. So I always enjoyed my time outside of my classroom, but I did do my studies, but not at the exceptional level, but doing everything on an average level. And I think probably different people have different journeys. So some can be excelling in academia, some can be in sports. I think it's the most important thing is you need to identify what makes you happy. So I think while my time at school, but I always I just followed my heart. I didn't think too much. I didn't really have a big, where I want to be kind of a vision. I just did all what I thought was I would be enjoying. So that's the kind of a childhood or like the times I spent at the school that I believe is the strongest foundation, because I think without that, the kind of exposure and also the risk taking, all of that wouldn't have been possible. So that's where I began, just which I'm grateful of, and I want to look back. And then how I stumbled upon the career of marketing. These 3 pictures are just random, just to help me tell the story. So as I was actually, I did mathematics for my A levels, and that's just by my choice. No one forced me. I had very good results with O level, and I thought maybe I should do mathematics. And I didn't really have a proper vision where I should be. At that time, I thought maybe I could be an architect, but my drawing and my capability to draw is horrible, to be very honest. But I just thought maybe I can be an architect. But then again, I wasn't very sure. But then suddenly it was a bit of a life changing where I chose marketing and IT as a career choice. So I tell you how I picked IT, because at that time when I was thinking of my higher education, IT wasn't very big. It was emerging, but it wasn't very big as of today. So there was, I remember there was like a one full page of an advertisement from SLIIT that said they're doing like, in Sinhala, it said the information technology. And I think it was the second or third batch from SLIIT. And it looked very compelling, but to be very honest, it wasn't very clear what it is. But it was very clear that it is where the future is heading, but it wasn't very clear what kind of things you will be doing. I mean, it was the early stages that people were not very, very savvy what the IT would hold as a career for you. So that's where I thought, okay, maybe this is what I should be doing. Even my parents thought, okay, this looks interesting. Why not you try? So that's where I thought of IT. And at that time, I want to be very honest, I didn't have a very, very clear picture of what the future would hold. Then marketing, there was a person whom I actually approached for a sponsorship for something for my school. And he actually, to be very honest, I'm not even touched with that person anymore. Maybe I should look for him. He actually, while I was canvassing for a sponsorship for my school, he kept on telling why marketing should be a career for some people. I mean, not just me, there were about, I think, 2 other students from my school. He kept on saying that we all should should be thinking of marketing careers, because we have been more the people outside of the classroom, the singing and music and drama and, you know, emceeing, whatever you call it. And he said those kind of personalities would love marketing. So even then, some people used to think marketing as the selling only, but I think at that time I was a bit confused again. But then again, I felt compelled hearing that and thought of doing CIO. These two pieces together, without having a bigger, broader, larger picture at that time, just I would say I just chose marketing as a career, but in tech throughout. So these were like life-changing moments, the conversations that I had, which actually led me to the path of me starting at EVs, then to Etisalat, and then eventually to Microsoft. So while I was actually even doing that, another person actually again told me, maybe, why don't you think of being part of project committees of Sling? And I'm being very honest and open with you. I didn't really have a very big vision at that time. I want to be the first woman president, but I thought it was exciting. So then I thought, okay, why not? I'll be a project committee member of brand excellence. And actually, I accepted the invitation and became a project committee member of brand excellence. Maybe good now, I think maybe about 14 years or so. But yeah, so it was just my first stepping stone even into my marketing professional journey beyond, basically from beyond the career in terms of the service toward the nation. So as you can see, all of these steps, I actually, I just took a risk without really knowing much about beyond. That doesn't mean you shouldn't have a bigger picture. Don't get me wrong. That's the idea that I'm suggesting. You definitely need to have a where you want to be and a vision and where you would like to be. But sometimes, you know, some of the unknown things, you may not have the full big picture and you have to try and, you know, follow your heart, follow your mind, and just think, okay, maybe I should try this and see. So I think that's how I went into a tech sector. That's how I went into marketing. And then when I started getting the flavor of it, I started creating the big picture and my vision. And then I'll just tell you a bit about how I joined Microsoft. That was 2015. And actually, when I was working at Etisalat, and at that time I was heading marketing, I was had about 10, I can't remember, 10, 12 people reporting to me at that time. So I was heading marketing. I wasn't actually looking out. So I got a call from one of the companies in Sri Lanka saying that they're looking for a top IT company, but it will be hired. It won't be a direct hire, but it will be through them that they're looking for someone to join the marketing team. So when I wanted more questions, I asked them, you have to tell me what this company is. And they then suddenly said, it's for Microsoft. And I couldn't actually believe for a moment, but then again, I knew it's not going to be a direct hire, but it's going to be through another company at that time. I'm talking about 2015. So they also said this role will involve regional exposure. So I actually had to take a chance. I said I'll sit for the interviews, but I wasn't very sure because at that time I was also, Etisalat is again another multinational company. I was heading a team. I had a clear path there, and I wasn't very sure whether I should be stepping out, especially knowing it's going to be through another company who's going to be hiring on behalf of the company at that time. So I sat for the interviews, and I actually got to know the person at that time who was hiring my then manager. Had done so many interviews and wasn't very successful with the candidate. But with my interview, she actually wanted to hire me. But then I was thinking twice, is that the right decision that I'm doing? Because I'm actually leaving behind a permanent employment, a team, and I was actually taking a risk to join a company who was hiring on behalf of a big multinational. But then again, I thought, marketing as a career, if I am to start for a company of the nature of Microsoft, I had to take that risk. And I knew that I had to be in the community and take that risk to be able to, the moment that they are looking for someone to directly hire, then I will be in the closest group. So I took the chance. I let go of, I would say, the comfort and, having a people management and also permanent employment. And I thought maybe I'll take that and I'll join that. So 2 years down the line, so I continued to work through that company for the last 2 years. And then when the Microsoft opened up the position for marketing before this role, it was for Southeast Asia emerging markets. There were like 9 emerging markets. When they had the opening, I actually applied for it, and I joined there. And I think fast forward in that journey, the amount of things that I've learned is immense. I think as I started the career at Microsoft, I wasn't the kind of thinking and the growth mindset, and especially the diversity and inclusion. I do not think I was a more inclusive person at the beginning. And I learned so much through a global community. And today, where I am today is through a lot of learnings. And the company that I work for really always talks about, it's not about know-it-all culture, but it's about learn-it-all mindset. And that makes a big difference. It's not about you go up and say, I know everything. It's always about challenging ourselves to unlearn the things we know and also relearn. So every single day we learn something new. So it's about that humbleness. It's about that mindset where you never stop learning. So I think that whole journey led me to where I am today. And also, I must say, when I actually was, because I got pregnant with my child when I was 37. So it was generally for a woman, it's like quite late in their career. So when I was coming back from my maternity leave, I was very, very stressed, and I didn't know how am I going to catch up to the last 6 months that I lost. And at that time, I was having a male manager, and I felt so pleased when he sat in front of me and said, Thilanka, I know the kind of emotions in your mind right now, where you're thinking, how am I going to start? How am I going to show that I'm good enough? And he said, I want you to erase all of those thoughts right now. And you and I now going to sit and do a development plan from today and onwards. And he said, just forget that 6 months as a loss. You were having the maternity leave. It's not that you have lost that as a career of 6 months. Stop thinking about that. You and I, and we will sit together and do a development plan. And that actually immediately changed the way I looked at things, because I was thinking more in terms of very thinking of myself as a vulnerable, and also maybe this is going to take me back in my journey. That was like a light bulb moment again, where we actually sat together and did a development plan for myself. And fast forward in a year, I even got a promotion, and even I was heading the marketing and operations for the subsidiary. And why am I saying this? I just want you to know these are the moments that actually shape me who I am. I'll tell you another example later on when I became the marketing and operations lead. My manager, that was again the general manager at that time, I kept on changing my roles. My GM told me, Thilanka, did you realize you say sorry way too many times? And at that time, I didn't even realize that I was saying so many sorries. And then when she told me that, I started thinking, oh my God, that's actually true. I'm telling it with too much humbleness. But she said, instead of saying too many sorries, try to say it differently. Try to say it with different like words, different kind of lingo. And with all of those kind of things, I was feeling that I always try to think that when you're coming from an island nation and compared to all the other markets, she told me that you have to stop saying too many sorries. You have to start using different kind of language. And all of those kind of coaching and mentorship that I got really made me a different person. So I think the last thing I would like to call out is last financial year. I was recognized as a Platinum Club employee. And that I don't like to think of it as an individual recognition, because I think it's because of a lot of people that in my life, the mentors, the coaches, and my team itself that led me there. And the picture that you see here is with the Judson Altaf that I took when I had the recognition in Hawaii. So he's our CEO's second in command. You can find him on LinkedIn, Judson Altaf. So I had the pleasure or the privilege of meeting him in person and during as part of this recognition. So from 2015, taking that risk of joining as a through hire, not as a direct hire, to that recognition, I think none of that was by accident. None of that was just, suddenly the things that I achieved, but it's all through teamwork, mentorship, so many people believing in me, and also me taking risks and also taking the feedback and learning and, unlearning and learning a lot of things. So with all of that, I like to believe that none of this actually matter if we don't give back. So I think May Be Slim, becoming the first woman president, eventually, and recording a good year. And also, it's not about saying proudly, okay, I'm a Sri Lankan and I'm part of the Asia marketing organization at Microsoft. I think it's not really about that you are taking the pride, but it's about using these platforms to give back to the country, give back to people. So I think that's where I take the most pride in. So you can see I'm just connecting the dots in my journey. And finally, it's about the time that I spent in front of more girls and women, talking to them about the importance of not leaking out of the career journey and somehow staying back and holding back. So there's a whole new chapter that I talk to a lot of women and girls around that, and also accessibility to talking about skilling. So I think all of these journey finally led to that. So it's not about boasting and saying, I want this, I did that, but it's those platforms actually helping me to inspire or support another girl, another woman, another youth into thinking of a career in STEM. So that's a little bit of my journey. And let me sum it up, 5 things that I'd like to call out as part of my journey learning, so that I can then move into the future trends that I'd like to share with you. Number 1 is your career isn't a linear journey. So we need to take risks, turns, and leaps of faith. So I'm this very little time, so I'm not sharing to a lot of things with the little time that we have. But if I sum it up, I think it's super important that we have to think our career isn't a ladder that you just keep, climbing up, or a linear journey. Sometimes you have to take a few steps back, take risks, leaps of faith, turns, and it's just not a linear journey. It's mountains and it's hills and uphill climbs and downhill. So that's how our career is. And the second thing is growth mindset. We can never stop growing and learning. And the moment that we think, okay, I have done my MBA, or if I have done my whatever the education, and just that's where I'm going to rest, that's where our career also will stop. So I think it's super important to have the growth mindset, where we keep on learning, keep on challenging ourselves to learn something new almost every day. So we have to keep growing and keep learning. And the number 3 is expand your network beyond your comfort zone. What do I mean by that? Because sometimes being an island nation, I myself like to think before I had this exposure, sometimes we tend to think the network that we have here is everything. But I think we have to really use platforms such as LinkedIn, and even beyond that, the forums that we have to expand our network beyond our comfort zones. And that's where we see new opportunities. That's where we see and meet new people and really challenge our comfort zones. And number 4, a true purpose and an authentic self. This is something that I truly personally believe in. We need to have a true purpose. So for me, it's all about, I just think of a better day for my daughter, so that she is not facing the gender stereotypes. So she is not, no one will tell her that because you're a girl, you can't do that. So my true purpose, the purpose could change. So my true purpose after my daughter is really doing everything I can so that she never feels that she's living in a world like that. So every opportunity I use to challenge that and make it do a difference on that front. So that's my true purpose. And also bringing your authentic self. I can't be someone I'm not. I cannot be someone. So there may be so many successful people that we learn from, that we get inspired by. But finally, we have to find our authentic self. What makes me happy? I truly believe that you don't work to, live to work, you work to live. So I think it's just that true authentic self. Someone can ask and say, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? But it's finally what makes you happy and what's your authentic self and what's your true purpose. And the fifth one being importance of development plan in action. This is something I truly, truly learned at Microsoft. Sometimes we think our development plans are just a conversation with our managers, but I really, really, truly learned the managers having interest in you and invested in you and doing a very, very detailed development plan. Who are your mentors? Who are your short-term? What are your short-term goals, long-term goals? Who are your executive sponsors? Who are your coaches? So I suggest you, I mean, there's no time for me to show a development plan format as such, but I truly want you to think that irrespective of you where you work from, you need to have a development plan, and that helped me. All what I've shared are not by an accident. All my managers and myself included, we have had like a development plan for myself with short-term goals, long-term goals, and who are the coaches, mentors, and how do you get there. So I think it's super important. Never underestimate the importance of a truly articulated development plan, because sometimes as Sri Lankans, I myself as a Sri Lankan, sometimes we tend to think we go with the flow. I'll do something tomorrow. It's important we think of those steps and really put that into action. So that's why I say it's not about a PowerPoint development plan, but it's a development plan in action. So those 5 are my key takeouts. And I know I took a time more than I expected. So I'll quickly jump to the future trends that I'd like you to know and, share with you. I picked a few tips or a few interesting facts from the Future of Jobs report from the World Economic Forum for 2023 report. So there are 3 key drivers that will result in the job change. 1, green transition, 2, technology, and 3, economic outlook. So the green transition is expected to drive job growth. So if I get my laser pointer here to easily show you. So green transition is expected to actually drive or rather drive job growth, new jobs. And technology, some jobs will grow, some will be decline or augmented. I'd like to think of it as jobs will be augmented. So the technology will drive both the decline and also new jobs. So it's actually the net effect is still positive. And the economic outlook might sometimes, because sometimes the organizations are facing the economic outlook, can also do that. So these 3 are the key factors that will change the jobs. And on the right side of the screen, you will see the fastest growing versus fastest declining jobs. You can see the top 10 fastest growing jobs here: AI and machine learning specialists, sustainability, business intelligence analytics, information security analytics, fintech, data analytics and scientists, robotics, big data, agricultural equipment operation, digital transformation specialists. Whilst the top 10 declining are the bank tellers, postal service clerks, cashiers. So you can see very, very manual labor. Sometimes we tend to think of fear, but I want us to think back like 30 years back, or maybe not 30 years, maybe 100 years back, when there were no cars. We used to have stables, the horses, and there were people to look after the horses, wash them. And at that time, when the cars introduced, I'm sure the people thought the same way. Okay, people are going to lose jobs. But now, fast forward, the jobs have changed. So it's the same thing with the technology today. We might, instead of thinking of it as a threat to change jobs, the way to look at it is it's augmenting jobs, it's changing jobs. The skill set will be different. So the world is moving towards that. And very quickly, the skills of the future. So the top 10 skills on the rise, as per the World Economic Forum, are creative thinking, analytical thinking, technological literacy. You can read the rest. So, and you can also see the color coding where the type of skill. It's mostly the cognitive skills, the self-efficacy, management skills, technology skills, working with others, and engagement skills. They are really the human skills. So it's really important for us to understand, whilst the technology is evolving, as humans, there are skills like the cognitive ability, the teamwork, working with others, and the leadership, the management. So that's the kind of skill set that we need to keep brushing up and keep polishing ourselves on. So you can see it also says the 44% of workers' core skills are expected to change in the next 5 years. So what does it actually say? We have to keep learning. It comes back to our growth mindset. It comes back to the importance of upskilling, like almost every day, and unlearning. We just have to challenge ourselves. It's sometimes, I myself as a Sri Lankan, sometimes we tend to complain, not us in this forum, but sometimes we tend to think when things are changing, I mean, even outside, we see that, right? I mean, when something is changing, people are not very happy. We see people out there saying, no, we can't change this. We have to go with the flow. But you can see where the world is moving, the importance of these kind of skill set that we need to acquire and learn and grow. So our brain is capable of learning new skills. So this is the skilling is a super, super important thing for every organization and also for us as individuals. So this slide I picked up from one of the decks that I use for skilling for education. But I just picked one slide. By 2025, it's expected that 85 million jobs displaced by automation, but 97 million new jobs will be created. So the net effect is positive. So I always think of that simple example of stables, the time of the horses to the time of the cars. Things change, the jobs augment, the jobs change. So the net effect will always be positive. So very quickly, the age of AI. So I just thought I'll share with you something like two things that I did in preparation of this presentation, but it just took me 5 minutes. It just took me literally 5 minutes. I went to Microsoft Designer, and there is a brand kit development. So I invite you to go create that and test it out. I just created a random brand called Biscuits, which is a not-for-profit. You can see the caption I have put, a not-for-profit platform for young kids who wants to become entrepreneurs. So that's the caption that I wrote. I said the brand name is Biscuits, and it's a not-for-profit platform for young kids who wants to become entrepreneurs. And I asked it to generate a brand kit. It came back with these 3 logos that you can see here, these 3 logos within like 1 minute. And also it has a few options like this. I just extracted just one option, but it actually gave me a brand look and feel, the look and feel, the colors, so each logo, it gave me a suggestion. This is how your look and feel should be. So this is where we live in today. That's the age of AI. And also, I again went to the design creator, and I used the same brand as like an example. And I explained the design, saying an Instagram post about Biscuits platform asking kids between 5 and 12 to enroll for this free workshop to become entrepreneurs. Sorry, even I have done, I think, some spelling error. So you get the amount of captions, the creatives that I got on the right-hand side. You can see immediately within a minute's time, the kind of creative Instagram posts that I got through the Microsoft Designer. So this is the age that we live in. So I'll show you another example, and then I'll conclude. I think I have 2 more slides. So the age of AI, these 2 captions, just have a look at it. I asked Microsoft Designer image creator to give me cartoon-like gingerbread man celebrating near Sigiriya Rock, Sri Lanka, Christmas tree and Santa with gifts. And the other one says robots playing traditional drums in a beach in Sri Lanka. The drums are not exactly the traditional drums, but look what it gave. So what does it actually say? It's actually going to tell us that it's not about AI taking a job, but it's someone using AI and someone not using AI. It's actually someone using AI could replace someone who doesn't know AI. So it's about, again, the skill set that we need to keep brushing up. So the importance of the generative AI and understanding where the job market is heading. And the last 2 slides, I also want to think of us, suggest that one of the trends is we have to start thinking as citizens of the world. It's not about, am I a citizen of Sri Lanka? Am I a Sri Lankan? Am I an Australian and whatnot? It's about thinking of citizens of the world. I know there's a major story about people migrating, but in my true sense, I'd like to think we cannot stop that. As long as they know what they do and they have a plan to migrate and do, not just go follow with the trend where you just keep leading the country. But if you know your true purpose, we cannot stop that because people are citizens of the world. So that's where we are actually heading. And it's truly important that we have to be, I think eventually we will stop thinking about, are you a Sri Lankan, are you an Australian, are you an American, but more as citizens of the world, where you can be anywhere, you can do any job, move to another country, and I do this job while being based in Sri Lanka. When I have to travel, I do travel a lot, but I'm based close to my home. And it doesn't stop me from taking up a regional job. That's the power of technology. So I think it's important for us to think of citizens of the world. And the last point, digital in every job. I think time to come, every job will have, or rather every company will be a digital company, and every job will have some digital aspect. So digital in every job. So I think that's the kind of thinking we will all need to adopt and adapt, and the importance of skilling, first thing is unlearn, relearn, and get the right skill set to be able to face this future. So maybe I overran my time by 5 minutes. I'm sorry about that. It's 10:30, but I think this is all I have, Dr. Rohantha and Nadimanti and team. So I hope it's useful, but I'll pause here if you want to go for questions. And I'm sorry I'm overrunning by 5 minutes here.
That's fine, Thilanka. It was a fantastic presentation and brilliant. And I really liked as to how you had started your career and how you moved up. And today, how you have mastered the technology of AI and the implications of AI in different kinds of hobbies that you would do, as well as, where would you want to kind of use it. Thank you so much. Brilliant stuff. A whole heap of questions are coming up. I'm just going to take a few of them. Let me. So we have. Let me just take the people out. Yeah. So we have Sachini who has the first question. Sachini is one of the students of Staffordshire University, and she's asking, after having a successful career in the service industry, what made you switch to the IT industry? Very interesting question.
Okay. Interesting question. Actually, I hadn't really thought about it as, to be very honest, Sachini, I didn't think of it as service industry. I always thought I was in IT tech because telecom, because EVS is again an IT company. That was my very first job. And actually, I did not share, but I had a 10-year part-time stint in media as well. So that was something that it was not really as a career, but just to my liking, I just wanted to be there. So I always like to think more than service industry. It was always IT and telecom. So whilst it is definitely service industry, I didn't feel that I'm changing industries, because I always felt it's a job that was close to tech, that was close to IT and tech. So now Microsoft is a platform company. We build platforms for the world. So it's again software and IT. So whilst it's an interesting point of view, I always felt like I was always in IT and telecom.
Parabi is asking, very interesting guy. He always comes out with some funny questions. He says, "What do you feel to what what do you feel to work for one of the best companies in the world?" And actually, Thilanka, it's a very apt question to ask, because everybody knows that Microsoft happens to be one of the top 3 brands and the most valuable brands in the world. And you took a risk in terms of actually going and getting yourself recruited initially, not directly, after having a fantastic job at Etisalat. And then, of course, right now you're handling 5 countries to one of the SBUs. So how do you feel like working in Microsoft?
Yeah, no, thank you for that question. So I think before I joined, the way I looked at the same question before I joined Dr. Rohantha, and now I look at it is quite different. I must say that, because before I joined that, it felt like, wow, I got the opportunity to do that kind of a feeling. But after I joined, my perspective completely changed, because then I actually thought of it as a platform to do something for the country, do something for the people. Because the moment that you're part of an organization like that, there are so many opportunities that you can actually share with the country. For an example, Imagine Cup as an example. So Microsoft creates a platform for the students, who are up and coming in AI and the technological landscapes, who can submit their proposals for around 5 categories. And they are chosen on a global platform for the Imagine Cup competition. And we had a team from Sri Lanka becoming one of the top 3 teams in the world. So for me, actually, the excitement really comes through the opportunity to be able to do those kind of things. And also being a Sri Lankan, being part of that team, and the only Sri Lankan actually as part of the Asia marketing team. So that actually, more than the pride, I actually feel that's an opportunity. That's why I even showed in my slider. It's more than, before joining, I felt it as a pride, but after joining, I think of it as a platform to be able to serve more to be able to support more, use it as a platform to inspire and support. So I actually use this as an opportunity and as a platform to support more students, support more women, support more girls. So the pride I take in actually is using that platform to do something good for the society.
Harshan is asking you, isn't IT industry a male-dominated industry, like the cybersecurities and software engineers? What do you think of the gender balance?
Yeah, it's tricky. You are right in some ways. I think that's why you see companies like us, we continuously invest ourselves in encouraging girls to start careers in STEM. So at an early stage to give them the flavor of, so that's why we have like programs such as, if you go and search like Code Without Barriers, it's talking about encouraging women coders to come forward, and we support them. We encourage them to come forward. So it is, there is a bit of a work that we need to do on that front. You can say some industries, some roles are male dominant, but that's why it's an opportunity again to keep doing more to encourage. I mean, coding is one example. So Code Without Barriers is one program we do. And also with universities, we actually Imagine Cup. Then again, there are so many programs that we have that we encourage girls and women to take up jobs and skilling, and also the interest in STEM related subjects as they start. So it is where it is now, but I think the work we do today will definitely change the landscape in future.
Thilanka, I mean, having moved from a very functional role to more regional role, where you are looking after, on your particular SBU, so many countries coming under you. How do you see this new role in relation to the job that you were doing, and do you see kind of similarities among different countries?
Yeah, absolutely, Doctor. I think the main difference is earlier it was emerging markets. Now it's actually a slightly different kind of market. So the dynamics, the will be different, or the market landscape is different. But I think it's finally there are a lot of similarities as well. So the as we can definitely understand how the emerging markets operate, and the different kind of developed markets operate is slightly different. But it keeps coming back to deeply understanding your markets, and also what it requires, and understanding the products and the solutions. And finally it's about bringing our mission to life. And Microsoft's mission is empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And I actually truly have seen the company living that mission, not as something just displayed somewhere, but truly living it from every product, every program, every service that we do. So I think again, whilst there are differences in markets, there are a lot of similarities, because finally it all gets tied back into our mission. So the best way to sum it up is, whilst there is a whole new learning with different kinds of markets, from emerging to more developed markets, but still it comes back to the mission that binds us, and also the deep understanding of the markets and deep understanding of the products. I think, Doctor, you're on mute.
Sorry. Let me bring in Dimantini now. She's doing a very interesting project for a destination, because she's looking at the kinds of skill sets that are there right now, marketplace for IT, and then asking what kind of skill sets that are required in the future, how the learning, the teaching has to change to kind of fit into the talent that you would want in Microsoft tomorrow. It's a live kind of a dissertation topic that she's doing, and so she's looking at how does people learn in MIT, the different other parts of the world in the universities, and then asking how this learning style has to change based on how the industry is moving. And the tech industries, like you so rightly said, is moving so fast. I just want to bring in here. She's one of the supervisors for the destination projects in the MSc for Information Technology, Cybersecurity, and Software Engineering. She's right now on a call to in Australia, studying for the PhD. So, Dimantini, would you like to share a little bit about? Um, uh, Please ask your question from Thilanka. Go ahead.
Thank you, Doctor. So, as you said, I'm connecting from Brisbane and I'm a PhD student at Queensland University of Technology. So, I have been in academia for last 14 years and then I was at APID for 7 years. And I was in SLIT as well for 7 years as an academic as well as my BSc and MSc is from SLIT. So as you clearly mentioned, the skills are rapidly changing. So very recently, what I did, I was just looking at the Seek and Indeed, and I was trying to understand what exactly the industry is asking from our graduates. So mainly, I was looking at the job advertisements which were published in November, and then I was analyzing nearly 150. So all these jobs were published in Australia and they were mainly for the entry-level positions because that's where our graduates step in. So when I was looking at them, what I understood, nearly 40% of the jobs, they have not mentioned anything related to tertiary education, even though they are, the stage 1 jobs. And then some of them have said the paper qualification is not the only requirement they are looking at, but instead they are looking at the technical as well as professional skills. So you won't believe with this 156 something advertisement, I was able to identify nearly 120 different skills that the industry is looking at. And then when I was categorizing, what I understood, they are looking at the strategic mindset where you can understand the person, human being, and come up with creative, innovative solutions, and then get adapted to any challenge, uncertain situations, and also the workplace agility, where the people should be able to get adapted to the dynamic professions and work efficiently. So these are some of the skills. And on the other hand, now the AI is also there. So AI literacy skills also play a major role here. So going forward, what we see, we cannot just define a skill set saying that these are the only skills that our students should get prepared for. It's going to be so dynamic, and what industry is looking at is the talent agility, where they can shift between the skills and then learn new skills, as you said, on the go. So as academics, right, we have been working, we have tried all sort of ways to inculcate these skills in our students. Say, for an example, we try to bring the industry to the classroom. We have internships, industry mentors, industry projects, and also we try to integrate the technology advanced learning, e-learning, and then social networking into the education. And now, of course, the AI has been integrated into teaching and learning, because the AI literacy skills we need to teach. We can't just avoid it. We need to let the students experience that, because the industry is waiting for a student who is experienced with that. And then we support the students to do their learning, active learning, collaborative learning, group projects. So we do so many things in our day-to-day life in the universities. But, even though we have tried all these things, industry is still complaining that there is a skill gap. So they are not telling about this technical competencies, because our students are very technical. But what they really talk about is the professional formation of a student. So in this context, my question for you is that, what is the role that higher education should play in terms of creating a student who is professionally skilled and who is ready for these dynamic changes in skills and competencies tomorrow? Thank you.
Thank you, Dimantini. Very, very clear. Very clear. I think it's a very interesting question also, Thilanka, because as you know, even in Sri Lanka, you have very, this industry is so competitive. You have top companies across the world operating. We are right now doing about, I think, $1.8 billion in our exports, and we are looking at trying to make it a 5 billion industry for Sri Lanka, because as you know, forex exchange is a major issue. We also have a skill gap emerging because a lot of people are leaving the country for as software engineers, cybersecurity experts, network consultants, and stuff like that. So in that backdrop, most of the top universities, the university that you studied, everybody is now ramping up to see how to fill in this gap. And so what Dimantani is saying is, what is this kinds of what are you looking for from a graduate, or for a first level job entry, or even at middle level? What do you really look for, so that then the academia can sit together and say, okay, I'm going to change the way that I'm teaching, that so that I can make sure that that product that we give is what actually Microsoft would want, kind of thing. Thilanka, over to you.
Yeah. No, thank you for that question, Dimantini and Dr. Rohanthan. So this I'm going to answer just my personal way. I just want to be, because I think it's complex in many ways. So this is I'm just going to share my personal way here. I think what you say is absolutely right. It's going to be one of the most complex challenges for the future for the education sector to solve for. And I do not really think it will have a destination, but it will be an ongoing changing landscape where day in, day out, we'll have to be really on your toes, kind of keep changing on that. So I have a few aspects or few things I'd like to suggest. Number one is there is no education, how do I say, like an ecosystem that can thrive without industry insight and industry R&D. So for an example, from Microsoft point of view, if you go and find, we have a platform called Microsoft Learn that we keep updating the curriculum and certifications that we offer. Most of those are free. You can actually go and find Microsoft, and even LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is again, you can go and see the amount of education that it provides, and also certifications, and some you have to pay and get certified, but the course content is free. So, like there are multiple things. So these platforms keeps getting updated based on the cutting edge, up-to-date technology and advancements and the skills that are required. So that's coming from the industry. So the industry will keep updating the kind of certifications and the education that it requires. So the link with the industry and the conversation and the dialogue and the partnership with the industry is going to be a key factor that has to always kept on being improved and increased. And I think, Dr. Rohanthan, to your point, even for Sri Lanka, it's super important that the industry closely works together with the educators to have that industry-ready skills to be updated. So in our case, Microsoft, I invite you to go and check Microsoft Learn platform. It keeps getting updated. It keeps getting the educators and the top of the brains and the organizations keep updating the content in that. So I think Microsoft Learn as a platform keeps refreshing and updating the content in that. That's one, the industry. Number two is Dr. and Dimantini, I think the education can actually really be a lot beyond what that offers in a certification and what that comes out from the industry. That is where the soft skills, I think, as we all saw, even the World Economic Forum talks about the kind of the grouping of the skills, cognitive, the management and leadership. These skill sets will not only come by with the certifications or the post, how do I say, like just the piece of certification, but beyond that, the classroom. How do we brush the skills of a student to be able to solve a complex problem? How can they look at a problem in a more creative manner? How can they work together? I mean, I'll tell you a simple example. I mean, as I started my journey, I have always worked with the Sri Lankans. So when I actually went into a multicultural, multi-national setting, I had to actually unlearn and learn how I work with them. How do you talk to them? How you meet them in a setting of a dinner table around that, the kind of the jokes to say, kind of the jokes not to say. I had to learn and unlearn in that. So the kind of working in a team, I think even if we saw the World Economic Forum talks about working with others as a skill. I mean, we would have taken that for granted, right? We would have just thought working with others, oh, what is the big deal? I mean, it's nothing to think about, but actually they're calling it out as a skill. That's because when you become part of a global team, that's actually a skill. I myself learned. I knew what to say, what not to say. I had to learn and respect other cultures. So that's why I'm saying me as an example. So this is where the world is moving. I think, Dimantini, to your point, I think other than the industry-ready skills, it's also important to understand the soft skills, the complex problem solving, the teamwork. I think it's really important that the educators facilitate an environment. That's why I'm saying this is coming from me as Thilanka, as a personal individual. I do think that it's really important, the educators, to have a very captivating environment that encourages and pushes and empowers the students to build up these skills, cognitive abilities, problem solving, teamwork, being a global citizen. Give them the exposure. Let them, have student exchange programs. I don't know, maybe be part of global competitions. So I think the students that needs to be molded in a university will have to be a very different kind, which is not limited to the industry-ready experts. So I think, to your point, Dimantini, and also Doctor, it's really important that the industry comes together, telling what's the kind of industry-ready skills, and the educators to also understand the kind of the entrepreneurial thinking, the innovative kind, to bring these two together to mold the right talent for the world. It's not easy, as I say, and we'll keep changing. And I think you yourself said that when you look at the advertisements, there were like hundreds of skills, right? It's not an easy space for even educators. It's changing so rapidly. It's so hard. But I think it will be a journey versus a destination where we keep getting better at doing that. So yeah, that's my personal view of this. Again, I know it's not a full answer, but it's a journey. It's a continuous journey to get there.
Thank you very much, Thilanka. And I think let's see how the research comes out of the findings come out of Dimantini. And, ideally what I was telling her is that once she finishes, recently she got picked up by New Zealand University to go and present her proposal, and which, was recognized as one of the top research design projects. So I would say that, when the research is done and if it could be presented to the industry in Sri Lanka, then maybe, as you very rightly said, maybe SLASCOMs and FITIs and all these organizations can, get involved in the whole curriculum development, because we know that the Ministry of Education is very keen to set up more universities, and they're saying all private sector institutes must become a campus university kind of a equivalent, and then see as to how they could further link, like you were right, industry. Thilanka, I know I have taken more than the time that I have actually asked from you, and I sincerely appreciate for taking some time. But two questions are coming up. The first question is, the worst time that Sri Lanka is going through right now is the time that we are right now in. Consumption of fast-moving consumer goods have declined by almost like 50-60% in some categories. People are almost 63% of the people are saying that they want to go abroad. In this backdrop is where our team of people are saying, no, I'm going to equip myself with a master's in business administration. What advice would you give a youngster of today, based on your amazing career that you have come right from ground zero into serving the region? What advice would you give?
Yeah, so I think it's challenging environment, needless to say. I think especially for Sri Lankans, we all know what we are going through right now. But then again, every challenge sort of creates another opportunity. I think as marketers ourselves, we always talk about threats, creating a threat to an opportunity. So I think the biggest advice for career, what I can think of is, Doctor, I do think most of the Sri Lankans are so talented, but we are just so confined to our island mentality. And then immediately we think of just migration as the only solution. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying migration is wrong. It's okay as long as you have a plan, as long as you know where you want to go, absolutely something that you should do. But sometimes we always tend to think so less of us versus the capability that the Sri Lankans actually have. So I think the biggest advice that I can give is, the first thing is always never just limit ourselves to think Sri Lanka as our market. I think that's the biggest mistake our entrepreneurs do. Every brand does. One of the things that we have to really think of, because Sri Lanka, let's be honest, it's a 22 million market, right? Whatever you do, there's so much you can do. So I think if you look at the biggest and the best brands and the companies in the world, they never thought of their homegrown country as their only market. I think it applies to entrepreneurs, it applies to brands, it applies to us as professionals. Never to just think of ourselves as Sri Lanka as our market, and to always think beyond that. I think my biggest advice to anyone is always think of us as global citizens and look for opportunities beyond Sri Lanka. And that is very different to being a migrant. Okay, I mean, what I'm saying is very different to being a migrant. I'm talking about being an expat. I'm talking about being I mean, I know many of our students actually do that. They look for opportunities outside, but it's a change of perspective beyond migration. So I think I can go on again another 30 minutes talking about my thoughts, but I think the biggest and the most important thing is, let's not really limit ourselves to thinking this islands market. If we are an entrepreneur, we have to think of South Asia or Asia Pacific or ASEAN, because we actually can do that. We have to think beyond that. And also as professionals, to think of our network beyond that. Platforms like LinkedIn give us that opportunity, right? I mean, look at the kind of professionals we couldn't have been able to connect with some people if not for a platform like LinkedIn. So are we really using those platforms to our advantage? So again and again, I'm saying, let's not limit to this 22 million islands opportunities. It's a beautiful island, and we love our country, and I myself take a lot of pride in the country, but it doesn't mean we have to limit ourselves to that 22 million and these islands opportunities. It's the way for us to go beyond, think beyond, as an entrepreneur, as a marketer, as a professional. That's my piece of advice. Think beyond, go regional, go global.
Thank you very much, Thilanka. Ladies and gentlemen, the head of market lead for Azure Integrated of Microsoft, handling Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, and Vietnam. Amazing discussion. Thank you so much. And Dimantinity coming over from Brisbane, doing Sri Lanka proud in the education sphere, and sharing some of her insights. Thank you so much, Thilanka, for giving pride to Sri Lanka for the amazing job you're doing, and how you're showing how Sri Lanka talent is so relevant, even in one of the best companies in the world. Thank you so much. Catch you soon, and see you soon. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Rahman. Thank you, Dimantini. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Dimantini. Thank you all around. Bye.
Bye.